Hello and welcome to Kingifa's English channel. Now in this lesson, we're going to take a look at 45 English words that many of us commonly mispronounce. It could be that you do not know the correct segment in the word, or possibly you do not know the right syllables that are supposed to be in the word, or you don't know the silent letters that should be in the word. And finally, you might not know the correct stress pattern that is supposed to be in the word. Now, these are the categories of common errors we often make while we speak the English language. Now, we shall take a look at the different levels of common errors non-native English speakers make while they speak the English language. Without further ado, let's get down to brass tacks. So we're going to start with segmentation. We're going to take a look at 10 words that we often don't get the segments correctly. The number one word we have here is covetous. Covetous. Now in Nigerian English, you'd probably hear someone say covetous. Then when it turns into a noun, it becomes covetousness in standard English. In Nigerian English, it becomes covetousness. So you can tell the difference. Covetous, covetous, covetousness, covetousness. And the second word is savor. Savor. We often pronounce savor as savour. So someone can say, I can savour the drink, which is wrong. You can just say, I can savor the drink. Savor, savor. And it has the same pronunciation with the word savor. The third word is drool. Drool. Now in Nigerian English, we often say drawer, but the right pronunciation is simply drool. The fourth word is southern. Southern. In Nigerian English, you hear southern or southern, but in standard English, the pronunciation is simply southern. So you say the southern part of Nigeria. And then you can also say he's a southerner, not he's a southerner or he's a southerner. So it's simply southerner. The next is fiancé. Fiancé has the same pronunciation for the male and for the female. Now, the common error is we often pronounce the male as fiance and pronounce the female as fiancée. In standard English, the correct pronunciation is simply fiancé. Just think of the popular celebrity, Beyonce, and then you can get it. Beyonce, fiancé. He's my fiancé. She's my fiancé. So the next word is intestine. Intestine. How do you pronounce the word? Most people pronounce it intestine. The correct pronunciation is intestine. So we're going to take a look at the next word, base. Base. We say base in British English. In Nigerian English, most people say bass. So you get to hear bass guitar instead of bass guitar. And somebody sings bass, not bass. And then the next word is zealous. Zealous and not zealous. Automobile and not automobile. So you say automobile. You talk about automobile companies and not automobile companies. And the final word that we've got here in this segment is obesity. Obesity is got from the word obese. Now, how do you pronounce the word? Most people say somebody is obese, but the correct pronunciation is obese. And then as you say obese, that same way you're expected to say obesity, not obesity, but obesity. We're going to take a look at some of the words that we often don't observe the silent letters. The silent sounds could either be vowels or consonants. So you'll hear me pronounce the accurate word and then you hear me pronounce it in the Nigerian context. The first word is economical. Economical is often pronounced economical. And then economically, which is the adverb, is often pronounced economically. So the A in the word in Cali should be removed and it should be economically, not economically. It should be economical, not economical. Same goes for the word mechanical and mechanically. It is not mechanical and mechanically. Then we have these words, portal. it is not portal. Nasal, not nasal, and not nasal, but simply nasal. We have a label, not label, not label. Plumber, not plumber, but simply plumber. The B is silent. And then we have the next word, bombing, not bombing. Soften, not soften. Apostle, not apostle. So you know, the T's in this word are all silent. So you keep them silent and pronounce them how they should be. Soften, apostle. And finally, we have the word fracas. Fracas has an S, but then you don't pronounce the S at the end of the word. The word is simply pronounced fracas, but most Nigerians pronounce it as fracas. But then, in American English, the word is often pronounced as fracas. Fracas. So that's if you have an American accent, you might want to stick to fracas. If it's British, you stick to fracas. So we're going to take a look at errors in syllabification. When we talk about syllabification, we talk about the syllables in a particular word, and that means how many beats are in that word. How many beats are in that word? Take note of that. You say the word father, how many beats do you hear? Dada, father, and that's exactly 2 beats. If you say water, it's still 2 beats. If you say aggravate, how many? Aggravate, just 3. Okay, so some of us don't know how many beats are contained in a word, and you're going to find out right now. So I have 6 words that you might not know how many syllables they contain. The first word is epitome. How many syllables are there? Epitome, just 4 syllables, but most times we often pronounce it as epitome, which leaves it at 3 syllables. Then the next is fiancé. Fiancé has 3 syllables, but most times we pronounce it as just 2, fiance. The next one is Celsius. Celsius has 3 syllables, but we end up pronouncing it as Celsius or Celsius, which leaves it as 2 syllables. The next word is lineage. Lineage, not lineage, and not lineage. If you say lineage, you know that the word contains 3 syllables. If you say lineage, you're automatically mispronouncing the word. Now, if you say lineage, you're just given the word just 2 syllables. And then we have the word conspicuous. Conspicuous has 4 syllables, but we often pronounce it with just 3 syllables. So we often say conspicuous, 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 3. Conspicuous, 4. And some people make the grievous mistake of saying conspicuous, which falls completely off from what is correct to say. And the final word we have here is ambiguous. Ambiguous, just like conspicuous, has 4 syllables. So you count it. Ambiguous, 4, and not ambiguous. Okay? And finally, we're going to take a look at errors in placing word stress. Now, stress pattern is really important in the English language. It's more or less like the music of the English language. So if you get the stress pattern of the English language, you are basically going to start sounding closer to what the native speakers speak like. And that is when you can say you really have a near native accent. We're not talking about the other aspect of intonation now. Now, stress pattern is actually important. Take a look at these words. Cannery and canary. Now, cannery is a place where cans are produced, and canary is a bird. You know that yellow bird you often see in cartoons? That's what they call canary. Now, if you look at the orthography of the words, you'll find out that the words kind of like look similar. So many people tend to pronounce cannery and canary as simply canary. Yes. So, but that is wrong. Cannery has the stress on the first syllable. Canary has the stress on the second syllable. So you try to differentiate, because it might be really ridiculous. You wanted to tell someone that a canary flew over a building and you just say a canary flew over a building, it will automatically seem as if you're talking about a huge building flying over the building. You get that, right? All right, so we're going to quickly take a look at some other words that you often don't stress properly. So we'll look at advertisement, derogatory, decorum. These words, I've accurately pronounced them well. Advertisement, derogatory, decorum. How do you pronounce them? Most people say advertisement or advertisement. Some people say derogatory and others say decorum. So these are wrong stress. The proper stress patterns are advertisement, derogatory, decorum. Then we have quarantine, tripartite, and apartheid. Quarantine, tripartite, and apartheid. A lot of people will say quarantine, quarantine, tripartite, apartheid. Those are wrong pronunciation. So quarantine should be correctly pronounced as quarantine. You can also alternatively pronounce it as quarantine, but the stress shouldn't be on tine or teen. So it's not quarantine and it's not quarantine. So you just say quarantine or quarantine. Okay? The next is tripartite. Tripartite should not be pronounced as tripartite. You should correctly articulate it as tripartite. So you talk about the tripartite committee, not the tripartite committee. The tripartite committee. So committee is also stressed in that particular order, not committee, but committee. Finally, we've got apartheid. Apartheid can also be pronounced as apartheid, not appetite. If you say appetite, it's almost like you're referring to that thing that happens to you when you're hungry. You don't really have appetite to eat anything. So you should be mindful. Appetite and apartheid are not homophones. So you keep them on different lanes. So we take a look at premature colonialism. Premature colonialism. So it's premature, not premature. Not premature, just premature. And then it's colonialism, not colonialism. It is industrialism, not industrialism. So you have to know the appropriate stress of these words. And there are certain rules that you need to learn, especially for words that end in isms. Colonialism, industrialism, say materialism, and individualism, not materialism, not individualism. So you get that. That's why stress pattern is really important. And finally, we have the word colonize, plagiarize, and intimidate. Colonize, plagiarize, and intimidate. So what do you notice? Colonize, not colonize. Plagiarize, not plagiarize. Intimidate, not intimidate. And finally, the one word that we often use, realize. It's realize, not realize. So it's really important that you learn all these categories of errors that we often make. These categories will help you to know what to learn. When you talk about segments, you know that you ought to learn how to properly articulate English vowels and consonants. You talk about syllables, you know that you have to learn the number of beats that occur in the word. With that, you have come towards learning stress pattern. And stress pattern is one aspect of the English language which often kind of comes across as being so difficult for many people, but it's not really that difficult. It's only if you have someone who can take you through that and make you understand it. It's almost like you're learning music, and that's how simple it can be, but you just have to put your mind to it. So at the end, how many of the words did you get? Not so many. Okay, so let me tell you, if you got less than 50, that means you really do need to improve your English. And that is why King Ife's Academy is here to help you. Yes, we have the mandate to help you transform the English language you speak and help you reach greater heights, okay? And you don't have to worry, because what we have is simply online. You can just subscribe and be part of our training online. You can join any kind of training that you want to join. There are actually 3 levels of training that we offer. The first level is the introductory level. Now, the introductory level lasts for 4 days, and we introduce you to the English phonology. We let you know the segments that are there in English phonology. We let you know syllabification and also stress. We introduce you to them, and then you'll get to learn how to self-train yourself after these 4 days. The next level of the training is the intensive accent reduction training. Now, in this level, you get to spend 8 weeks in the class. Here, we learn from videos and audios. You record your voice and send to me. I'll go through them and I'll send you feedback and let you know how best you can work on your accent. And it comes up frequently, so you don't have to worry. And then we give a bonus in this class. You also get to learn grammar errors that we often make and how to fix them. And now the final training is the advanced training on phonological processes. Now, if you've passed through all this training, or maybe you have mastered oral English to a particular extent and you're looking forward to improving your English, getting it to the next level where it gets to sound like the native speaker, all you have to do is to subscribe to this class, and then you have 4 weeks to be trained and you will get amazingly better. Trust me on that. If you need our offline services, you can contact this number you see on the screen, and rest assured that we will be there to give you and your company the communicatory skills they need to excel in whatever they're doing. Finally, I know you might be asking, what's the need of learning the English phonology? Now, it's really important that you learn the English phonology, and I'll tell you why. Number 1 reason is the English language is not a phonetic language, and that means you don't read what you see. The orthography of the English language is different from the phonology, so it can be tricky at times. You want to pronounce the word the way you see it, and then you obviously find out that people are pronouncing it a lot differently from the way you have chosen to pronounce it. And that shows that you haven't really mastered the English phonology. So, as you learn your native languages, you discover that they are somewhat easy because what you write is what you see. That is not the same with the English language. So when learning the English language, you have to learn both the orthography to help you spell and the phonology to help you properly articulate the words. And that is exactly what I'm here to help you do. If you have found it challenging to correctly articulate words in the English language, all you can do is just subscribe to our training, and we will help you reduce your accent. Did you hear what I said? Reduce it. Maybe not changing it entirely, but reducing it will help you to gain clarity. It will help you to be able to communicate effectively in the international scene, and I know that's exactly what you want. Thank you so much for watching this video. You can subscribe to the link below, and then we will be posting more videos right on this channel. Alright? I'm King Ife, and I more than anything love to see you prosper. Thank you.